Very, very excited to be here this afternoon. Welcome each of you to our Celebrate America's Military Capstone event, which we're calling the Spirit of America event. We used to call it Spirit of America Dinner, but unfortunately no dinner this year. However, still a very, very engaging speaker. It's just going to be a lot of fun, and it's our opportunity to celebrate our 50th year of this unique anniversary, and it's right on par because, of course, we're Military City, USA, and we do things right. And this is our 50th year, so we wanted to do something different, and so we're doing it in a virtual way. And so we are here today to salute our men and women in uniform, those from the past, those currently, and then those that are in the future to come. Today's celebration is one of a kind, especially unique this year as we transition to an online virtual event to help ensure that we remain safe and healthy, yet still recognize the importance of thanking our military men and women for their service. We also want to show our heartfelt appreciation and thanks to all those organizations who support them, not just in November leading up to Veterans Day, but throughout the entire year. Thank you all for what you do. CAM was founded when our military needed us the most, back in 1970 when people were transitioning out of the Vietnam War and they came to a less than welcoming community. So we founded CAM as a way to say, we love you, we honor you, and we respect you, we want to celebrate you. And your chamber has sustained this legacy, thanks to our thriving business community, our dedicated volunteers, and our member organizations. Even through the challenge of the recent pandemic, the need to recognize our nation's finest military members remains important. I hope you have a chance to share your appreciation for our military neighbors of all ages, ranks, and branches that make up the San Antonio military family. We kicked off our celebration with a virtual CAM prayer event where we honored the important and powerful role military chaplains play in the lives of our military men and women. We also hosted our traditional spirited senior non-commissioned officers with a bit of a twist, a virtual trivia night. The event was fun as the services worked to answer our trivia questions as quickly as they could. And they did very, very well. Please remember, however, that you still have time to say thanks and celebrate our service members. Something as simple as a prayer or a kind thought tomorrow for our service members on Veterans Day will be enough. Also, we would like to wish a very special birthday to our Marine Corps. Today, they will celebrate 245 years. Happy birthday from a grateful community to all of our Marine Corps family near and far. All right, so at this time, please join me in a minute pause as we honor our nation with a moment of silence. During this time, we will lift our thoughts and prayers and thanksgiving for all our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who bravely serve our country in peacetime and in war. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us for that. And now we will honor our nation with a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. right. Thank you. That was fantastic. Now I'd like to recognize those men and women who are the reason for this great event, the military service members we aim to honor and celebrate. We have many commanders and senior enlisted leaders joining us virtually this afternoon, and there are many more service members of all ranks who will join in the future as we share the recording. The benefit to this virtual event is that we are able to show our support for our military locally, statewide, and beyond. From a grateful community, we say thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. We recognize next a group that rarely gets recognized, but they deserve much, much recognition. This group provides the support that allows the individuals that we are honoring and recognizing today to be able to serve our great nation. We would like to say thank you to the families, the parents, the spouses, the children, all those that make up those families that support our servicemen and women. Thank you, families. Your service, too, is important. It's noticed, and it's appreciated. All right. As with all of our chamber events, we would not be able to do this but for the generous support of the San Antonio business community. I want to give a special recognition and thanks to our 2020 Celebrate America's Military title sponsors, and there are 3 of them: Silver Eagle Beverages, USAA, and Walmart. This is the 16th consecutive year that Walmart has been a title sponsor. If you visit a local Walmart in the Alamo region, you're likely to notice our San Antonio Chamber of Commerce Celebrate America's Military logo and a wall that honors military service members who are hometown heroes. Next time you're there, be sure to look at the wall and thank the manager for their ongoing efforts and important work in supporting military men and women and our veterans. We are also honored to be hosted by 2 additional title sponsors. This is the 11th year Silver Eagle Beverages has partnered with us on the Celebrate America's Military, and in 2015, we were extremely proud to add USAA to this distinguished list of title sponsors. As you know, all these companies do so much for the community, and in particular the military, so we say thank you so much. Now we'd like to take a moment to hear directly from them. We'll start with a video from Silver Eagle Beverages and then one from USAA.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to join you for the annual Celebrate America's Military Capstone event. Our congratulations to the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce for celebrating 50 years of dedication to recognizing and honoring the men and women of our military. Silver Eagle Beverages is proud to join Walmart and USAA once again as the presenting sponsors for today's event. Silver Eagle Beverages appreciates the service and sacrifices the men and women of our military make in carrying out their duties, and we are truly honored to partner in an event that highlights the many service members and their families that reside in the San Antonio area. My thanks to the local heroes we are recognizing and honoring today. Your service to our country is indeed greatly appreciated. My thanks also to Major General Patrick Brady for your valor in serving our great country. You are an inspiration and a great reminder of what it means to be an American patriot. On behalf of everyone at Silver Eagle Beverages, thank you for your support of this annual event, and most importantly, thank you to the military women and men for your service and sacrifice to secure the freedoms that we all enjoy as Americans. Thank you.
We're excited to celebrate 50 years of honoring America's military, and we have a lot to celebrate in Texas. From Shepherd Air Force Base to Fort Bliss to Naval Air Station Corpus Christi. And in USAA's home city, Joint Base San Antonio supports more than 250,000 personnel and 11 major commands with wide-ranging and important missions. Tapping that expertise this year has been critical for so many domestic missions, as you have served and supported for medical relief, civil unrest, and disaster relief from coast to coast. When America needs help or faces a crisis, we know we can count on our troops to be there on the front lines. To demonstrate our support, this year, USAA contributed more than $30 million to support military causes that were directly related to the pandemic. And we've responded during this hurricane season to help service members across the country, but especially in Pensacola and at Fort Polk. It's our mission to be ready to serve you every day, and especially when you need us most. Whether by mobile, web, or phone, Team USAA is here for you. Because you and your family have served our country, we're honored to serve you.
All right. Thank you, John Now from Silver Eagle Beverages, and of course Wayne Peacock from USAA and Walmart, of course. We want to thank them for their fantastic support. Every single day they're out there doing things to help the military and helping this great community and our nation. And so we say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I also want to take a moment to thank our other Celebrate America's military sponsors. And we'll begin with the gold sponsors, and we have two of them. We have with us today as a sponsor, gold sponsor is Baptist Health Foundation of San Antonio and the Boeing Company. Thank you to our gold sponsors. We have one silver sponsor this year that was very instrumental in helping us put our event on today, and that is the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Thank you for your good help and for being a silver sponsor. And we have 4 bronze sponsors that I'd like to recognize. They are Akima, AT&T, Booz Allen Hamilton, and Fort San Antonio. Thank you to our 4 bronze sponsors. Again, this sponsorship allows us to put on an awesome event with great videos and all of the bells and whistles, and we say thank you to them. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Steve Cochran. Steve has served as the Military Affairs Council Chair since January of 2018. At USAA, he is Assistant Vice President, Military Affinity Development and Operation. Steve has over 25 years experience in the insurance and financial services industry. He has held various positions throughout his career, all related to supporting affinity credit card and insurance programs. Steve has worked to develop and deepen partnerships with groups in the motorsports, professional, and military segments. Steve graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1984, earning a Bachelor of Science degree. While in the Navy, he served as an instructor pilot and search and rescue helicopter pilot on several aircraft carriers. Steve earned his MBA at the University of Delaware in 1998. Steve, we can't thank you enough for your continued leadership at the Military Affairs Council. You have been a wonderful example of volunteerism and support for the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. We say thank you, and the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much, Richard. The Spirit of America event, as you said, is always the highlight of our CAM festivities. And even though we've moved to a non-traditional virtual platform, we hope that you're able to be inspired to thank our military, to support them with a kind word or gesture, and to show your appreciation for our veterans who live, work, and play in our great city. Ideally, we'd be enjoying delicious food and a few beverages in a patriotic setting with 500 of our dearest friends from the military and business community. Usually, this would include our Gold Star families, our wounded warriors, and our veterans from generations before us. This year, we are certainly grateful to see many of you virtually, and please know you continue to remain in our thoughts with gratitude for your sacrifices to our nation and for your great contributions to our city. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce a true American hero who is very familiar with our event as an attendee. Unfortunately, due to travel plans for tomorrow's Veterans Day events, he is unable to join us live and in person. However, we are excited that he was able to take time to share his remarks with us in advance of his travel. In honor of our CAM origins nearing the close of the Vietnam War, it is appropriate that we feature inspiring keynote remarks from retired United States Army Major General Patrick Brady, Vietnam veteran and Medal of Honor recipient. As a first lieutenant, serving in the 54th Medical Detachment, serving as a pilot of a UH-1 medevac helicopter, Brady acted with, quote, unmatched skill and extraordinary courage, and rescued 51 seriously wounded men near Chu Lai, South Vietnam on January 6, 1968. On that day, Brady was supposed to be off duty. However, there was an extraordinary situation that required his help. He rose quickly, and despite warnings that the mission was impossible, he set out to rescue the injured. Brady and his crew extracted soldiers from areas where others had failed. Of his heroic efforts that day, humbly, Brady says it was just like any other day. The difference this time was that someone cared to write about it. During his 2 tours in Vietnam, he flew over 2,000 combat missions and evacuated more than 5,000 wounded. He was one of only 2 men to receive both the Medal of Honor and the Distinguished Service Cross during the Vietnam War. He retired as a Major General in 1993 after 34 years of service. We are grateful he is available to share his story with us, a story of selfless service, sacrifice, dedication, and loyalty to family and country. Today, he will share his thoughts on who the Spirit of America is, and I won't steal his thunder. So without further ado, Major General Patrick Brady.
Spirit of America. Okay, I've been asked to offer some inspirational remarks. This would be the second time I did that. The first time was to the Washington Huskies football team. A friend of mine was chaplain for the team, which was having a tough time. The school had actually been offered $1 million to fire the coach, and my friend thought I could inspire them. And so I did. Results, the rest of that year, the entire following year, they never won a game. Unprecedented in their history. I was never asked back. It was apparent to all that I'm ill-equipped for inspirational speaking, but I have been exposed to some very inspirational people, and I will mention 3, but first I want to honor what tomorrow is all about. As you know, America has no kings or queens, no dukes or duchesses, but we do have a nobility. America's nobility is what tomorrow is all about, our veterans. Their titles are private and sergeant, lieutenant and general, or simply GI. At the top, however, is KIA, WIA, and POW. Unlike other nobilities, their titles were not inherited. They were earned through their blood, sweat, and tears. And that is the hallowed trinity that secures our freedom, the blood, sweat, and tears of our nobility. Without veterans, without our nobility, we would not be free. Veterans are the vault for the values of America, and that is what they would like to see honored, the values for which they fought. They brought freedom to so many, not just our allies, but our enemy. And our youth need to know this. And they need to know about those who did not make it, those who sacrificed all the springtimes of their life so that liberty might grow old. To know that the noblest part of their being did make it. It stays with us, becomes a part of our being as a people. Everywhere in this great land, a part of the common ideals and feelings we have for each other, of all those things that make us a united country, a singular people, a people who enjoy each other's company and wish each other well. A preacher friend of mine once said that if love is to survive, it must be expressed. So true. But true of other expressions as well, honoring veterans and other heroes as we do here. Let me add to America's nobility their families and that most exquisite creature known as the military wife. I've been almost dead many times, but I never went through anything as agonizing as when my daughter went into combat and I was not there to protect her. Our wives and families go through this over and over again. And I believe, frankly, that Adam's rib was the greatest investment in history. C.S. Lewis, in his condemnation of moral relativism and a valueless society, wrote about men without chests. The chest for Lewis symbolized the spiritual element, the value center of a person. It was the indispensable connection between the head, the intellectual, the mental element, and the belly, the visceral, emotional, passionate part of our nature. Balance comes when the head rules the belly through the chest. Danger comes from people and nations without a chest, from intellectuals without values, human animals governed by passion and instinct and power alone. True evil is not a disease, it is a decision, and the world is full of evil and those who don't have chest. Veterans are kind of like America's chest. They are, as I said, the vault for our values. They have protected us from those among us and in the world without chest. Among the great and inspirational veterans I have ever known is Charles Kelly. He was my commander in Vietnam. He is an example of some of the things we try to teach young people in the Medal of Honor Society and our character development program. About risk, about failure and success. Risk, of course, is the father of innovation. Failure, the mother of success. Now, Kelly lied to get in World War II at 15 years of age. He was almost killed in combat. Now, believe it or not, the guy was court-martialed 3 times. He was the first and only soldier to wear all 4 badges of his time: jump wings, flight wings, as well as the combat medic's badge and the combat infantry badge. He became a high school principal after the war, but he loved the military and he tried to get back in. A special board convened right here at Fort Sam to check his fitness because of all those court-martials. But they let him in and he went to Vietnam. Now, this guy was boneheaded and irascible to say the least. He was not pleased with the situation he found when he arrived in Saigon to command the 57th Helicopter Ambulance Detachment, call sign Dustoff. Although helicopters were used in Korea, they were unsuited for patient evacuation. The wounded were actually carried in the coffin-like pods attached to the skids. No possibility for en route care. Some patients regaining consciousness in the pods thought they were actually in a coffin. Now, that was not helpful for their healing. The Huey of Vietnam was light years beyond previous choppers. It was a mini treatment facility with great potential for life-saving. Kelly had 5 of these great birds, but there was no doctrine, little understanding of their use in the jungle battlefields of Vietnam. Now, Kelly's commander was a guy named Brigadier Joe Cider Stillwell, Vinegar Joe's boy. Now, we didn't call him Cider to his face, but he wanted Kelly's helicopters for non-medical missions. We would put portable Red Crosses on them when they were needed for a dust-off. This would be like using your local ambulance to haul ash and trash and then slapping a Red Cross on it when somebody got hurt. Kelly, of course, was outraged, and he went one-on-one with Stillwell. Kelly was a major, Stillwell was a general. They were both battle-hardened World War II veterans. They respected each other, but neither one of them pulled a punch. Kelly warned us that unless we proved the life-saving value of dedicated evacuation helicopters, it would be the end of aeromedical evacuation by medics. Then he set the example. Kelly believed that if he bent a twig a certain way and kept pressure on it, it would grow that way. And he was bending us, all young pilots, right out of flight school. We wrote the book as we went, flying single ship, single engine combat missions at night in all kinds of weather, landing on active battlefields, taking unprecedented risks at the time, but with unprecedented life-saving results. No one else flew like Kelly. Had any of us been killed on these missions, it would have ended his career immediately. But he became legendary in Vietnam. He was known as Madman Kelly, Crazy Kelly, and entire villages turned out for his pickups. But Stillwell still wanted our choppers, and the fate of Dustoff was not decided until Kelly landed for patients in an area called Secure. All hell broke loose, and the troops on the ground started to scream for him to get out. And he replied in his soft Georgia drawl, "When I have your wounded." He then took a single round through his heart, and he died on the spot. This is the bullet that killed Kelly, and it was given to me by the area commander as I took Kelly's place. His message to me was to change the way we flew, or else. He was too late. We were all, by that time, Kelly twigs. Now, Kelly's death rattle saved dust off, and the standard for battlefield rescues to this day. Kelly and Dustoff in Vietnam were responsible for 1 million souls rescued, enemy as well as friendly, few scout dogs. Dustoff set survival rates unparalleled in warfare. Kelly, a man who failed in a way, got up, took a risk, and was responsible for more combat lives saved than anyone in history. Now, I was a pallbearer at his funeral, and the outpouring was immense. General Stilwell actually wept. General Westmoreland singled out Kelly as a soldier for the ages. Portable Red Crosses died with Kelly. One life lost, hundreds of thousands saved. When I have your wounded, his last words, what a great example, what a great way to die, and really not a bad way to live. Now, another problem we find with young people is heroes, their definition of a hero. They will ape their heroes, and some of these people are pretty raunchy. Certainly not someone I would want my children emulating. So what is a hero, or what should one be? Now, I'll give you an example of another inspirational person, another veteran, a true hero. His name was James Pappy Coleman. Now, Pappy was head of my medics in Vietnam, although he was probably in his early 20s. He was the oldest medic, and so he was Pappy, as I am to my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. On one mission, he got out of the chopper to retrieve the wounded from the battlefield. He was shot in the chicken plate, body armor at the time, knocked him down, got up, shot, knocked down again. They finally found and killed the sniper, and he continued to carry the wounded on the chopper. On another mission, he took a round right through the lips. When the crew rushed to help him, he said, "Not to worry, I just kissed the bullet that had my name on it." Later, he was with me in a minefield. Everyone was dead or wounded. No one would move. Pappy ran into the minefield and began rescuing the wounded. On one trip, he set off a mine, blew him up in the air, set his pants on fire, got up, put out the fire, and loaded the rest of the wounded. In 1 year, he probably helped rescue over 3,000 wounded while earning dozens of medals, to include 3 Purple Hearts, 3 Silver Stars. He's in the Army Aviation Hall of Fame. There's no way to measure this man's courage, but that's not why he's a hero. With 18 years of service, 2 years short of his pension, his family called. They needed him. He could have been Sergeant Major of the Army, but he's left his career, he left his pension, and he went to care for his family. Coleman was a hero not just because he was courageous. He was a hero because he was also a good person. Key ingredient is goodness. There should be no such thing as a bad person who is called a hero. Our society confuses heroes and celebrities, and this is dangerous to our youth, who will emulate their heroes, often celebrities, and celebrities are not always good people. Celebrity is someone we may want to meet. A hero is someone we should want to be like. Pappy Coleman, for example. We need more heroes who wear dog tags, not capes, ride a fire truck rather than a horse, drive a patrol car rather than a Formula One. By the way, one of the great honors of my life was when Pappy's wife called me. She said he was dying. Now, he'd been sick for a long time, in and out. And it was a night my beloved Spurs had just kicked Miami's ass. I was in a good mood. She said he was sick and dying. And she said one of his last wishes was that I take care of his funeral. He died a couple hours later. And I must say that he had some very clear guidance to me on how he wanted me to bury him. But we got it done. Which brings me to my final example of someone who exemplifies the spirit of America. Now, one serious shortfall I have found in some of our schools is a lack of emphasis on patriotism, which of course is the key to our future. A patriot is not someone who says simply they love their country. A patriot is someone who proves they love their country through their willingness to support and defend it. A patriot is, by definition, someone who is extremely proud of their country. Now, unfortunately, for the first time in Gallup's 18-year history of asking how proud young people are to be Americans, fewer than a majority stated they are extremely proud. The source of this change may be that patriotism is not as emphasized in education as it once was, but a democratic society cannot survive without patriots. Now, another source of our declining pride in America may be the dismal state of our basic knowledge of who we are as a nation. A recent survey found that only 1 in 6 Americans can pass a quiz on basic American history. It's frightening, but true, that 1 in 7 high school students believe we started World War II by dropping the atomic bomb in Japan. Now, you cannot love who we are if you don't know who we are. Decline in patriotism based on a lack of pride and knowledge of America could prove disastrous in any crisis demanding the full support of our people. If you doubt this, just look at how ignorant some of our politicians are about who we are. So our youth need to be educated and inspired on the wonders of our country if we are to survive. Young people must love their country if they are to support and defend it. They must believe we are a lovable people, an exceptional people, if this is to work. Now, that's a tough job when so many do not believe we are in any way special. Now, I have a speech I give on American exceptionalism. Relax. I'm not going to do it, but it boils down to 3 things in my mind. We are exceptional because we are an exceptionally courageous people. We are an exceptionally compassionate people, and we are an exceptionally competitive people. And as a famous historian said, America is great because America is good. We were founded on good, short for God, on a belief in God. You can't have one without the other. Now, if anybody's got a better definition of our exceptionalism, I'd like to hear it. But I break it down. For example, we are free as is much of the world because of American courage, mostly our veterans. No country is more generous in their compassionate care for those in need than America. In earthquakes and hurricanes and everything, we are compassionate. And the unleashing of the free exercise of competition granted by our Constitution, that competition is the basis of our prosperity. My bottom line is we will cease to be exceptional when we cease to be courageous, cease to be compassionate and competitive and good. And I believe as one example, we're trending towards socialism because we have people who don't want to compete, perhaps because of cowardice or laziness or both. Now, I think a great example of patriotism is illustrated by the story of a dear friend of mine, a great, powerful black soldier, Sergeant Webster Anderson. Early one morning in Vietnam, his unit was attacked by the communist forces. In the initial attack, they pretty much took off both his legs. Yet he continued to fight. Later on, they threw a hand grenade into his position. He caught the hand grenade, and when he threw it clear of his men, pretty much took off his arm. Still, he fought on. I flew in and picked up what was left of Webster and his wounded after he had inspired his men to defeat the communists. Miraculously, the medic saved his life, but his efforts to save his men cost him both legs and an arm, but it earned him the Medal of Honor. Now, Webster and I became very close. He thought I saved his life. It was really the physicians who did it, but some years later, we were speaking at a school in Oklahoma, and one of the youngsters asked Webster if he would do what he did again, knowing what it would cost him. 2 legs, 1 arm. Webster's answer moves me to this day. He raised his good arm and he says, "Kid, I only have 1 arm left, but my country can have it any time they want." I'm sure those young people will forever be inspired by the words of that great black soldier, propped up before them, more plastic than flesh. His sacrifice was an investment in their future, and I think some of them realized for the first time. I believe Webster defines patriotism for these young people and for so many of the rest of us. And so, speaking for many of my fellow veterans who are the source of the spirit of America, we don't think we did America a favor by our service and sacrifice. We believe God did us a favor by allowing us to be born in this great nation. Amen.
Wow, very inspirational. At this time, I want to humbly recognize and extend a big thanks to everyone who has worn a military uniform. We honor those men and women from all generations for your past service and dedication to protecting our nation's freedoms. You are, as General Brady said, America's nobility. On behalf of the Chamber's Military Affairs Council, I'd like to thank each of you for joining us for our National Spirit of America event. At this time, we invite you to sing along at home or at the office with your brothers and sisters in arms for a medley of our military service songs. Following the medley, our event will officially conclude, and we look forward to 2021, and I think that's an understatement, where we will endeavor to see each of you back in person to enjoy the festivities of CAM's 51st year. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe and stay healthy.